It's the KC Arts Beat Report. I'm Patrick Neese. Today, my guest is our hometown sweetheart, Joyce DiDonato, a star of opera stages around the world, and we're lucky that she is from Prairie Village, Kansas, because that means she often comes home to give us a taste of her artistry. And she's going to be doing that again on December 9th at Hellsberg Hall on a concert presented by the Harriman-Jewell series. It's a Christmas concert, and Joyce is going to be joined by none other than King's Return. She's going to tell us all about them. But Joyce, it's so great to see you.
Hi, Patrick. It's nice to see you face to face, I have to say. We've done a lot of email interviews over the years, but this is the first time we've spoken in person. It's lovely to see your gorgeous face.
And yours as well, Joyce. It's a real delight.
It's a jet-lagged face actually today, but it's all good. I'm full of smiles.
Yeah, you just got off the plane, didn't you, or something like that?
I did. I just got off the plane. So I came in from Europe a few days ago, and then we had our first Christmas concert of King's Rejoice last night in Akron, Ohio. It was my debut in Akron. And we just flew into Oklahoma City, and we're going to be in Stillwater tomorrow night.
Wow. You must have spent a lot of your life on planes.
I'm over 1 million miles on United, I have to say. I'm quite proud.
Wow. Wow.
And that's
Over
just one
40.
airline. Yeah, that's a lot of miles.
Wow. That's mind-boggling.
It is. It is true. It doesn't compute in my head, but that's a
Boy, I mean, that's probably that might be what I would imagine maybe one of the hardest parts of your job is the constant travel. I don't know, maybe you enjoy it.
well, today was a rough day, I have to say, actually. People are on edge, I'm finding. Patrick, I think it was Renee Fleming, I heard say this one time. She said, we don't really get paid to sing. Most of us would sing for free, but we get paid to be away from home. And
Um,
I thought that was a pretty accurate way of describing it. I mean, the dream would be to be able to do all of this without having to move around quite so much. But there's a lot of pros and cons to every job, I suppose.
yeah, I guess that's the downside of being an international opera diva.
I do try to make the best of it, though. That is.
Well, we're certainly glad that you're home for Christmas and for this concert. I have to ask you, how did it go yesterday in Akron?
It was amazing. And people were just buzzing. And a lot of the comments afterwards that it was really one of the greatest concerts people have heard. And
Mm.
I don't know if that's not really for me to say, but I will tell you, I did not stop smiling the entire night. And it's really such a bucket list dream concert for me. I grew up in choral world. Those of you who have followed my career, my dad was a church choir director. The big events were the Christmas liturgy and the Easter liturgy, but by far the preferred one was Christmas because we got all the carols. And then I went to Bishop Miege High School, and I had an extraordinary high school choral experience. And that really formed my love for music and my love for sharing it with people. But over all these years, well, I guess now I have to say decades, now all these decades of singing, I have never done a proper Christmas concert.
That's
And
astounding.
I know, go figure. I mean, I did do one last year in Vienna, but it didn't feel like mine. It felt I just kind of showed up and did a few tunes. But this one is very much um, curated to everything that I love about Christmas. And we debuted this last night in Akron. Um, Myself, Craig Terry on the piano, and then these four men of King's Return. And it surpassed really every expectation I had. In the rehearsals, we were thinking, my gosh, we've programmed this pretty well because it pretty much has something for everyone. and it's tunes that everybody knows. We have sacred music, we have secular music, and a few things that I don't know, just the icing on the Christmas cookie. Um, and it was so much fun. So I'm just elated to be bringing this home.
Oh, man, you've really whetted my appetite for this. So, I know King's Return has quite a presence on social media now. They have a lot of YouTube videos and stuff. But for anybody out there who has somehow missed King's Return, who is new to them, what can you tell us about this group and how did you get connected with them?
Well, I got super lucky and random. I was on YouTube, as you know, sometimes I will go down a few rabbit holes on YouTube, and I came across this video, and it was shot in black and white of these four guys in a stairwell, and they were singing. I pressed play, and the most beautiful four-part a cappella rendition of Ave Maria that I've ever heard. It stopped me dead in my tracks. And this is me coming back to, the liturgical choral training that I had and that I love. It was so extraordinary and a beautiful arrangement. And I was so overwhelmed. I just immediately wrote a comment, which I rarely do. And I just said, "You guys are amazing." And much to my surprise, like a minute later, they went, "Oh my God, Joyce DiDonato were big fans," which blew me away. Turns out they all trained classically. And they now sing in all different kinds of styles. They'll record Beyonce, they'll record Stevie Wonder, they'll record these kinds of classical choral pieces. And so I responded right away and I said, "Well, we should do something together." And here we are about 2 years later. And I have to say, Clark Morris of the Harriman-Jewell program, he's the first one I mentioned this to. I said, "I came across this amazing group. They're huge on YouTube. I mean, they have millions of views, but they haven't really, I think, made an inroad into the actual touring world so much. I mean, they've started it. They're still a young group." So I said, "Clark, I know one of the big things about the Harriman-Jewell program is that you guys discover people and you present people at the beginning of their career." And I said, "I think this is a real opportunity."
Wow. This was written in the stars, I think. And you've really turbocharged their careers. That's really awesome.
I don't know. I mean, I think they don't need too much help because they're so extraordinary on their own. But this is one of the things I love about singing is this idea of just let's join our voices together and see what we come up with. Let's play with the style, let's play with the genre, and let me bring some opera and you guys bring some R&B and I'll bring some jazz and you guys bring some show tunes and let's see where we intersect. And so it's a show, I do some solos, they do some of their stuff, and then we have a number of arrangements where we mash it all together. And I'm telling you, I just didn't stop smiling the whole night. This has been so much fun.
Oh, that's wonderful. And how many cities are you taking this to?
Seven,
Wow. And
seven.
the germ of the idea was here in Kansas City.
Absolutely. Thank you, Harriman-Jewell program. Yeah. I
Wow.
mean, honestly, this kind of program would not be possible with me to have it and not bring it to Kansas City. That was an imperative. And also for the guys, they're based in Dallas. And so they'll be making their Dallas Symphony debut when we go to Dallas as well.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
This is certainly not your first concert on the Harriman-Jewell series. You have done so many things over the years, and they're all wildly different too, really creative stuff. People can't predict what you're going to come up with next.
Well, I appreciate people's patience. It's true. I do think there are some artists that, have a very particular, very brilliant lane that they really stick to. So you can see them over the years and you know exactly what you're going to get. What I really appreciate about, um, I think the audience that I've cultivated in Kansas City, but really around the world, is They know that I have a pretty high musical integrity, but that there's always kind of a driving force behind the projects that I want to bring. And I love to take people by surprise. I love to keep them guessing, what's it going to be this time? And I know maybe not, I'll speak for my families on behalf of my family. Some of them are like, oh, Joyce, is this going to be one of those programs? And I told my sister in particular, I was like, you're going to love this one because you're going to know all the tunes. But I have a big musical appetite and I have a lot of curiosity and I like to challenge all of us to, to look at music, to look at themes through different lenses. I think that's the power of art. It's like, let me look at this through another point of view and let me explore something that maybe I hadn't considered before. It's a pretty beautiful opportunity as a human being, just to put out your
Yeah.
tentacles a bit further and see how you can look at things in a different way.
And you do a lot of collaboration too, like you're doing on this particular concert. I have to say, I have a stack of your CDs. I mean, I'm a huge fan, as you know. But I tell you, some of my best things about what you do are your Baroque recordings. They just knock me out, and you just have such a feel. You could be a specialist in Baroque, of course, but you do so many other things well too. But man, your handle just knocks me out. I'm sure I'm not the first person who's told you that.
I appreciate that. Some people will ask me who my favorite composer is, and it just feels like betrayal because if I say one, then it's not Mozart. And how do I leave out Strauss or how do I leave out Mahler? But I will say for sure, Handel is the one who has taught me the most. And if I only had one thing to sing, it would probably be Handel. But I think one of the reasons I love it so much is it's not the only thing that I do.
Uh-huh.
And I've been able to do Rossini and Mozart and now Mahler and Schubert and um, to really have such a wide variety of things, everything informing the other. So I think my Handel is richer because of Mahler, and I think my Strauss has been enriched because of Handel. Everything feeds and informs the other, and I think it's really made me a much better musician and artist by doing all of these things.
Can you give us an idea of maybe some of the pieces that are on the program, or you want it to be a surprise?
Well, we got a few things up our sleeves, but there will be some I'm going to use air quotes. Handle. There'll be some
Oh,
Handle on the concert. Obviously. We start the concert with a new arrangement of Do You Hear What I Hear?
I love it.
Oh, me too. It's really one of the fun things about this is has been arranging for the five of us and what all of us do well. I have to say that's one of my favorite things about this group is they are such a tight ensemble. I mean, they have such a unique sound to them, but when they break apart and each one takes their moment in the spotlight and they shine, their individual timbres are so different and radically unique, and somehow it all comes together. So they have so much variety that they bring to their own, and again, classically trained, but can cross almost into any genre. So they have that ability, which I work for in my own singing, to change color on a dime, to play with their timbre, to play with the quality of the voice. So whatever style or mood is at hand, they can change their sound. And so we're having a lot of fun meeting each other vocally for the first time in this concert.
And we should mention more than mention, talk about the accompanist, who is a huge figure in his own right. Tell us about Craig. Craig Terry? Yeah.
Oh, he's a longtime friend and partner of mine. And when we were first figuring out this program and how to sort of divide it, it was clear that we wanted to do some a cappella things, and the guys only sing a cappella. But I thought we should bring a pianist as well, and somebody that can just tie our different worlds together. And so Craig is playing a bit less on this program than he's used to, but when he plays, he just brings all of his spirit and joy to the program.
I can hardly wait for King's Rejoice. Is that yes, on December 9th at Hillsburg Hall. It's coming up on Monday. It's, one of the don't miss concerts of the year for
It
sure.
really is a don't miss concert. I can say that with full thing. I think one of the things, Patrick, also is that, I look at my platform in a variety of ways. I mean, sometimes there's like a project I brought to Kansas City, this In War and Peace project was a
Yeah.
very strong plea using music to see if we can't cultivate more peace. And Eden, the last project I brought on the Harriman-Jewell program as well, very much about creation and trying to forge a world that we want. This one is so much just about really leaning in to the heart of this season, which is peace and joy. And I want to send people home infused with joy and peace and the nostalgia of what it was to sing in their choir or in their church or with a community in any kind of way, and to really bring some tranquility and joy to this moment in time. I think it's really imperative.
And Christmas memories are made of this sort of thing, way more than what you received Christmas morning. It's the concerts we go to, all of that. And so this will be a great memory for you, this concert. And Joyce, I wanted to ask you, do you have happy memories of Christmas as a girl growing up in Prairie Village?
I have the best memories. I mean, you say that and I smell the Christmas cookies already. I mentioned my dad, the church choir director. I mean, it started with Advent. And, every Sunday, the liturgy and the liturgical music was so strong. And it was all leading towards midnight mass. And so all seven of us Flaherty children, we would be sitting up in the choir loft, and a few of the older sisters were singing in the choir with dad, and the rest of us were listening and singing along off on the side. And we would walk home in that, crisp Kansas City midnight air on Christmas in the middle of December, and the stars, the sky so, so, so clear, freezing cold, our breath, you could see it. And we're walking down the street to home. We live very close to church, and singing Christmas carols and harmonizing all the way home. And it was just that. It is true, Patrick, what you said. I mean, I remember a present or two, but it's those memories. And they're as alive now as they were 50 or some years ago.
Well, Joyce, I have to say, I have very similar memories of going to midnight mass. I was probably the only one in my family that loved going to midnight mass. Everybody
Oh,
else,
really?
yeah, everybody else wanted to hit the sack. But I know what you're saying about that ice cold Christmas Eve weather. It just, you never forget it.
You
And
never forget it. And this sense of the silence of it,
yeah,
right? There was this beautiful silence. And for me, it felt really sacred. I'm not sure I would have used that word at the time, but as I look back on it now, there was a kind of sacred silence. And just before all of the hubbub of Christmas morning would break out. And it felt like an arrival point. You'd been waiting so long to get there. And finally being able to sing the Christmas tunes, um, and the familiar ones. Yeah, it had a big impact on me,
Yeah.
obviously. Here I
Yeah.
am 50 some years later,
Well,
bringing it
no,
home.
absolutely. You never forget those things. I was an altar boy too, so I have those vivid memories as well. The smell of the incense, the candles, all the music. The music, of course, is a huge part of Christmas. And
Mm.
thank you for you doing your part to make it so. You had talked about some of the causes and some of the issues that you like to bring to people's attention in an attempt to make this a better world. And one of the things that I know you're very involved in is education and teaching the artists of tomorrow. And you're going to be doing an event to benefit Harmony Project. Can you tell us about Harmony Project?
Oh, it's amazing. This came to my into my jet lag into my sphere by Michael Stern, the beloved, just recently retired music director of the Kansas City Symphony, and he was telling me about it. And on Sunday nights, we're doing this jingle event at the jingle on the where is it? It's
A
in
Legends
Legends Field.
Field, Kansas City, Kansas,
Correct.
Western Scott County. Yeah.
Correct. Thank you for that. My brain is a little bit still
Sure.
mushy. And so we're going to be doing the tree lighting out there. And what's beautiful about this, it's put on by the Big Slick group, is that over these 12 days of Christmas, it's a charity event each time that they light the tree. And so knowing about this Harmony project, I thought that's what I want to highlight. It's primarily instrumental. They teach kids amazing, give them instruments and they teach them. But the most incredible thing about this is they form relationships with these kids over the years with the trajectory of getting them into college. And there's, I think, something like 100% placement rate of these kids that maybe not would have, without the Harmony Project, would probably have a really tough time following through on that trajectory. They're kids in need, kids that need opportunity, kids that are hungry, ready to make efforts, but they need somebody to give them some a schwung to go out into the world. And the structure and the education by this program is really extraordinary. A lot of the members of the symphony have been involved in it along the way. So there's a real community involvement around, and it's a program that I admire more than I can say. So, I mean, all the proceeds from the night there are going to go to that, and of course, that is a kind of program that could use support all year round. So I'm very proud to be a part of it.
And that's December 8th at 7 p.m. It's a Legends Field. And the
Correct.
website with more information, jingleholiday.com. So you'll find out everything you need to know there.
Hopefully, all of Kansas City will be in a good mood after another Chiefs win, hopefully.
Yes, right.
And we'll
Oh,
come
I
out,
bet.
we'll light the tree.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so in a giving mood, I hope.
correct. And I don't want to give any spoilers, but my dress just might be Chiefs red.
Of course it
Tis
will.
the season. Tis the season.
Yes, of course. You're one of Kansas City's biggest sports fans, I know.
That is true. That is true.
Well, Joyce, it's an absolute delight to talk to you, especially after a long, hard day. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with me, and it's a great pleasure to see you face to face. I mean, I've seen your face plenty, but anyway, it's a great delight to finally talk to you. Any projects in the works that you want to talk about or can talk about?
Oh, yes. Um, I can. That it's a lot to talk about, but I'm just gonna say there is a word for the 250th birthday of America. I don't, it's a bicentennial sentinel. I don't know. We're gonna all get to know that before too long. But in 2026, And there's an amazing project around the poetry of Emily Dickinson.
Oh,
It is rocking my world. It's being written by Kevin Puts, who's a Pulitzer Prize winner, a Grammy winner. He and I are nominated for the Grammys this year through his opera, The Hours, which was at the Met
yeah, sure,
years
yeah.
ago. And it's been
Did he
nominated
write
for a
Silent
Grammy.
Night too?
He also wrote Silent Night, which the opera did, Kansas City
Yeah,
Lyric
right.
did.
Yeah, very
Beautiful.
beautiful, beautiful work. Kind of
So
neo-romantic, it sounds like to me. I don't know.
it's just beautiful. And what he did with the hours was extraordinary. He wrote the role of Virginia Woolf for me. And he came to me after we debuted it at the Met in New York, and he said, Joyce, I really want to write something else for you. And I really am fascinated with these Titan women, creative forces of these women and everything they had to say, because he wrote a piece. It was also just at the Lyric Opera for Renee Fleming, The Brightness of Being, I think, or The
Yeah,
Brightness of Light,
of
something like
light, yeah, brightness
about
of
About Georgia O'Keeffe.
yes, and
And so,
Stieglitz and her husband Stieglitz.
correct.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so he wrote that, which was a deep dive into the world of Georgia O'Keeffe, and then came Virginia Woolf. And he came to me with this idea about Emily Dickinson, but he said not this prim and proper Emily. It's like I want to go into like her explosive world of immense thought and poetry. And he's writing it for myself and a group called Time for Three that brought Kevin his first Grammy. They're a trio of two violins and a string bass. They also sing, and they're super adventurous musicians. And so he's writing this full length evening for us with 24 poems of Emily Dickinson. And it is, I've never heard anything like it.
Mhm.
It is rocking my world. And as I'm working on it and, introducing people to it little by little, everybody says the same thing. They're like, it feels so familiar. I feel like I already know this. And yet it's completely new. And it's just extraordinary. So be looking for that
On the
in
Harriman-Jewell series.
I come on, Clark. I would love to bring it back. But in 2026, as part of the big American year, we'll be traveling with that a lot across America,
Wow.
giving voice to one of the great American poets of all time.
I was just reading her poetry earlier today, believe it or not, Joyce.
Which one?
Oh, I can't think of the name of it, but it's the one about robin helping a robin to its nest.
Oh, if I can save one heart from breaking.
Yes,
Yeah,
you know the rest of it because it's a beautiful poem. You,
I don't know it by memory, but if I can stop one heart from breaking, I shall not live in vain. If I can ease one life the aching, or cool one pain, or help one fainting robin unto his nest again, I shall not live in vain.
oh man,
I don't want to give it away, but that's the penultimate poem that Kevin has said.
oh beautiful.
Yeah.
That one could be your motto too.
Well, it's powerful. And what he does, oh, I want to tell you, but I don't want to spoil it. What he does with that poem is so surprising and I have chills. I literally have chills thinking about it. Oh yeah, so that'll be the next big thing to look forward to.
And
But
hard.
not that doesn't happen before Monday night. I want all of Kansas City to come. And this is a concert to bring your kids, to bring your grandkids. I promise there is something for everybody. And if you're not wanting to get up and dance in the aisles, then there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, that's
It's
great.
going to be a good time.
December 9th, Hellsberg Hall, 7 p.m. Harriman-Jewell series. For tickets, hjseries.org. Or 816-415-5025. So you can call them too. But anyway, we're very grateful for the for the partnership you have with the Harriman-Jewell series, because we've got to hear some incredible concerts over the years, and we're very grateful for that. I have a Christmas wish, Joyce, and that
Mhm.
this would sell like hotcakes. I know it would. You need to do a big old-fashioned Christmas album with the Kansas City Symphony and call it Home for the Holidays, and do some big juicy arrangements. And it would sell. You couldn't keep it in stock.
Matthias Pinder. Is anybody from the Kansas City Symphony listening? I would do it in a heartbeat, Patrick. I would do it in a heartbeat, of course. But we'd have to have King's Return come and do a
Oh, of
number or
course, they'd
two.
be because a lot of these big old albums would have special guests along with
Of
the headline.
course.
So you got to have
Right.
King's Return on there too, of course.
You are right. I would love nothing more. I would love nothing more. But in the meantime, we've got Monday night coming, and I predict, I mean, really, Kansas City's going to fall in love with King's Return and this concert. It's going to be something very special.
Great. December 9th, Hellsberg Hall, hjseries.org. Joyce, it has been an absolute pleasure talking to you, and a pleasure meeting you online finally. And I look forward to our next conversation, which might be about Emily Dickinson, I
Oh,
hope.
with great pleasure. With great- Patrick, thank you very much.
Oh, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to you.
Happy holidays, Kansas City. See you Monday.